Ewok Trapper, and then also bringing up, rounding out the list, is Chewbacca in the ATST. So, it looks like we have done our setup, and I will be updating the scoreboard here. Looks like they have chosen Close the Pocket, Recon Mission. Looks like Chris is running Cunning Deployment. And it looks like they're both running Cunning Deployment. So we will update that scoreboard. So these are some interesting lists. The ARF Trooper with the Jedi Guardian is not something you see very often, so I'm interested to see how that one pulls out. Bright Tree Village running as well, so this is going to be a melee heavy squad with that ATST versus 2 saber tanks. I don't think that when Tom set up that he would be particularly happy to see 2 saber tanks on the other side of the board. Now, that incognito with the Chewie ATST is going to help quite a bit because it means that ATST isn't going to get just blown off the board by those saber tanks right away. Those 2 ATRTs with flamethrowers is going to be very dangerous for the little bears, and that is going to be something that I think that Tom is going to want to deal with pretty quickly. But those saber tanks as well, particularly with the beam turret. We have one of them, they both have the beam turrets. So both of them are going to be could put out a lot of pain on those bears very quickly. But we do have 10 activations versus 14 activations. So Tom absolutely has the activation count, meaning that with Close the Pocket, that means that Tom could very well see an early lead on the objectives just from being able to body that center objective very easily and very quickly with a lot of different bears. Then again, the amount of scout that Chris is dealing with is going to give him an advantage for being able to fire. They're going to have a good advantage by being able to scout on the field, scout, fire, move, and keep moving while firing and moving towards that center objective point, rather than just having to move there. They're doing a little bit of adjusting of terrain to make sure that the objective is in fact in a legal placement. So there is our objective and our deployments, approximately. It's always fun trying to put a perfectly nice square overlay on top of a, camera that has perspective and kind of gets skewed. So even though the center is perfectly on, the sides don't get quite. So we are moving into the prepared positions part of the setup. Chris has said that he is choosing not to have prepared positions on those clone marksmen. That is definitely going to make them a little bit slower. Those marksmen obviously have, only their speed 1 movement is going to make it a little tough for them to get places. So, prepared positions up here or, back here would have been tempting to me, but so they are now currently setting up their cunning deployments. They both have cunning deployments, so they are just handing out dodges. Looks like some dodges went on the ARF squads. Obi-Wan ARF squads. It sounded like the other ARF squads as well. And it sounded like a dodge went on Wicket and some other Ewoks. So, of course, that makes sense. These are the units that are going to be charging forward as quickly as possible. So I imagine there's going to be a big old ball of murder right in the center of this thing. These are both interesting lists in that they are both very melee heavy with some with some tanks backing them up. The melee ARF units, as I said before, Chris is bringing 3 ARFs with the Jedi Guardian upgrades. One of those Jedi is Kenobi. And then, of course, the Murder Bears. So Murder Bears and ARFs charging at each other as tanks shoot at what they can shoot at overhead. Chris is divulging his card. At sneak attack. So there it is, a beautiful friendship with Leia and coordinated assault 3-pip. from the clone commanders. So actually, okay, Chris did say that he wasn't going to use prepared positions, but it looked like he did in fact decide to. So what? So we got something out there. That makes me think, is that... So that allows... So that's why Chris chose not to use prepared positions, is because he's giving those core infiltrate instead. Yeah, so he did prepared positions his his core up here, of course, and yeah. So the play priority goes to Tom. And he is playing some bears, just moving on up. There is that nice big building in the center that provides some nice line of sight blocking where a lot of bears are going to try to go up there and try to get behind that building as much as possible. But I imagine those marksmen are going to want to try to, you know, they got to be careful about that line of sight. As Chris is checking out that line of sight right now. So, Chris currently has 3 pass tokens and is choosing to use one right off the bat. Because his current activation count is 14 to 10. So it definitely feels like if Chris can get his units in, they're going to do a lot of damage. And the question we're all going to be asking is it going to be enough damage to take care of that activation advantage that Tom has right off the bat? Chris is checking about that move shoot on those bears, seeing if he can get line of sight around the side of that building. It looks like he will be able to see the unit leader, but only the unit leader. So he's just looking to just try to get one wound through if he can. Ooh. 2 crits and okay, that's obviously have to play with. So 2 crits and hit. Looks like Tom chose not to use his dodge because why bother when he can only take 1 wound and there are still 2 crits. So he did take that wound and actually, sorry, that normal hit got canceled because the Ewoks have low profile. So that 1 hit that went through automatically got canceled. Have some more Ewoks sneaking up the side of the board there. And so Chris passed again, and so we have more bears moving up. This objective here definitely, I think, favors Chris quite nicely because there is a lot of distance between the side through here or running up the center here. Whereas Chris has a nice heighty little building to just jump out here. So looks like Chris is checking range for some beam shots from the ISP. One automatically goes away from low profile. Rest of the cover doesn't help at all. Dodges down to so 3 hits down to 1. Doesn't save. Low profile again, so beam into the other squad. Again, low profile cancels the 1 hit, so he's just dealing with the crit. Still takes the crit. So, 1 wound on each squad. Chris handing out observation tokens, suppressions, and wounds in apparently equal measure. Another squad of bears double moving up to that center point behind the building. Tom is definitely deploying a lot of bears first. It seems that his strategy is to let the poor Ewoks go in first and leave the rest of the rebels to be a little bit safer behind him. Those poor Ewoks. Justice for the Ewoks, right? Chris uses his third and final pass of the round. Looks like we've got some rebel troopers hitting the field. Those nimble dodges coming out, so they double move onto the board with a pile of dodges on them. Agile and nimble is a wonderful thing. So the amount of wounds that Chris is going to have to chew through to even up the advantage or the activation count is quite substantial, but the firepower that Chris is bringing is certainly pretty good too. Now, the question will be, what actually will be the play with the Chewie ATST? If the tank, because the Saber tanks could probably very quickly take down that ATST, but if they're spending their time doing that, they're not spending their time killing Ewoks. And, for scoring purposes, killing one activation is not as good as killing the 3 activations that he could probably kill in the meantime. We have our first Jedi Guardian arcs coming onto the board. And it looks like they are doing a lot of moving. They're moving up. They decided that truck in the center, they decided is line of sight blocking. So they're feeling relatively safe right there. So scout double move. That is a lot of guys. 6 ARF troopers and a Jedi. Got another squad of bears moving up behind that building. We do have some beautiful terrain here, provided by the 5280 community. This Ferrex table is Steve's. Steve, I'm blanking out on his last name. I'm sorry. Chris is bringing on an ATRT. These guys are flamer ATRTs, so very dangerous to the bears. And it sure looks like Chris is playing just pedal to the metal at the moment, just doing a whole bunch of move forward and not be terribly concerned. Which I guess makes sense because Tom doesn't have a lot of non-melee firepower. The bears are scary in melee, but not so much anywhere else. Just checking out the Chewie's ATST card, which is quite dangerous. There's a decent chance. Well, there is a chance, I'll say, that it could just one-shot one of those ATRTs. Impact 4 surging to crit with enough dice. Chris is bringing a Saber Tank onto the board. Get to see Chris's lovely arm there as he reaches for some dice. He's taking that. So we've got that Saber Tank is now firing into the squad of Rebel Troopers and beaming into other Rebel Troopers. Those Rebel Troopers, though, do have a nice number of dodges on them. So but forcing him to spend those 2 dodges. Of course, he'll get one back with Nimble. And a 50% on white saves is not bad at all. So the 2 into the other Rebel Troopers, they just spent 2 dodges, get one back. And then over into some Ewoks who did have cover, so they automatically canceled one hit and dodged the other one. So that was a lot of dice to just get 2 wounds through. but you got to start chewing through somewhere. That's the difficulty of a list like Tom's. Is he's got a lot of wounds, and they are, even though they're all white saves, they're surprisingly hard to remove with all of their dodges and other shenanigans. Tom is considering his next move. Oh, Chris has gone with Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan ARF squad. So, since we are looking at the new Obi-Wan card, this is the first time I've actually seen this is the squad upgrade Obi-Wan. He is, so. The ARFs, so they get ARFs with Kenobi. It gives the unit immune to pierce. Also, when the unit defends against a ranged attack, during the reroll defense dice step, you may tap the card and the unit rerolls all of its defense dice. So if you roll and it's really bad, you do get a reroll on that squad. And then his attack adds a rainbow, in melee only, adds a rainbow with critical 1, impact 1, and pierce 1. We have Han Solo coming onto the board. As expected, he is stacking up quite a horde of people right there at the central point. Remember, the central point is worth 2. The side points are just worth 1. And that scoring will start at the end of round 2. Oh, I should actually mark it as round 1, shouldn't I? Looks like Chris pulled another tank from the bag. And still in Tom's bag, he's got the ATST, another ball of Ewoks. And then we've got Leia and Wicket still to come out. Does have C-3PO in that list. I think he's just somewhere in that ball in the center there that I can't quite see. Doing another beam shot. Just checking line of sight from that tank to various things. Counting up how many Ewoks we can see. Oh, amazing cover save. Amazing cover save, so really just has to roll. So at the end of it, he's only rolling on 2 crits. Spend a surge, so all of that whole attack into Ewok squad, and that killed 1 Ewok. But now Chris is getting to do fun observation shenanigans to move Obi-Wan farther up the field. And the beam over to the other guys just deals 1 suppression. Cody is coming onto the board. Of course, Cody has a very nice long-range shot, and so he's going to see about what he's got. He's probably he's actually going for the shot on Han. Or he's thinking about it, and the question is backup, because Cody does surge to crit. Backup would cancel hits, so it'd be kind of fishing for crits, but it still might be worth it. That's what Chris is contemplating right now. Sounds like he's decided to shoot at the slingers. No. He is shooting it on. Yeah, when you bring a horde army, you've got to be prepared to lose a lot of dudes. Nothing gets through, just suppression. Backup cancels the 2 hits that would have happened. He was looking for crits, didn't get any. Looks like Leia is coming out, taking some shots. So yeah, that was Leia coming out and taking some shots on those marksmen, picking up 1. And now the other marksmen get to move forward, and let's see what they can do. Chris is measuring, making sure that they can do another move and contest that right objective. But this turn, he is going to fire. Yeah, 2 hits, 1 gets canceled automatically by cover, and then the other one just gets canceled. So, yeah. So, Tom's defense dice, cover saves are really helping him out. But we'll have to see what that ATRT does next time. Figure an ATRT with Flamer. That's good for at least 1 squad of little bears. And he still has another ATRT in the bag. That center building is tall enough to hide the ATRT pretty effectively. I think even from the ATST, even from Chewie. All right, this second ATRT is coming onto the field. I just had to grab some water real quick. All right, I'm back now. That second ATRT coming up right behind the first one. Oh, he's moving up onto that to see if he can manage to stay stable there, to try to get line of sight on that ATRT. Looks like the ATRT is immediately breaking cover to get a shot on that ATRT, which makes sense. You know what I mean? Those ATRTs are very dangerous. And surging to crit with a lot of impact. That's going to be, I see 4 hits, 4 into armor already. So a blank could break the ATRT right now. Ooh, not good, not good. So he takes 3. Yeah. A lot of surges have been showing up this game so far, which really helps the person who surges on white, but not the person who doesn't surge on red. All right, we are moving into round 2, doing some cleanup. We got a good hit on that ATRT right off the bat. Another good hit like that could kill it, and even a bad hit could still wound it. And even if it's if that ATRT is broken and can't move around the side of that building to shoot, that's still a big win for Tom. So I think round 1 so far, Tom I think has a bit of the momentum here, just because he's started with a lot more dudes, and Chris was not able to peel off very many. So we are moving into round 2. The score obviously still 0-0, as there is no scoring at the bottom of round 1. But close the pocket. Remember the side 2 objectives. The side 2 objectives, these 2 objectives here. I'm going to try to, let's see, range 1/2 is about that. Something like that. And about that. Those 2 are both worth 1 point. And the middle one. All right. So we have the Chewbacca and Leia card, teamwork card. So, when Leia shoots someone, that's the brains and brawn. So when Leia attacks, then Chewie gets to add one of his ranged weapons to the attack pool. And the other one just gives up some aims and dodges to Chris's people. But now Tom has priority and a pretty strong shot on whatever he wants, with Leia taking that shot. So if he chooses, Obi-Wan is getting to move up. But I think Tom has a good opportunity to delete something here. I think a good option is to finish off that wounded ATRT. And if that gives Tom an even more of an activation advantage and removes that very dangerous that very dangerous flamethrower. So that's probably what we're going to see right off the bat, I would assume. Otherwise, Chris will absolutely activate that and go wipe it. Ooh. Oh. Chewie is choosing to activate first. He's going to move up, contest, and probably blow away that ATRT. The difficulty there is moving up Chewie first does block a lot of line of sight for Leia. So Leia is going to have a much harder time getting shots off now. So, 2 crits and a couple hits that get impacted up. So two really bad defensive rolls for Chris mean that ATRT goes down very quickly. That's rough to see. So Chris is showing off, in response, Chris is going to show off what the ATRT can do and what the other ATRT should have done if it hadn't have rolled really poorly on its defense dice. We've got the Flamer coming up. The Flamer. That Flamer that does 2 black dice per mini in the defending unit, which is just a giant bucket of dice when you're throwing your dice into 11 Ewoks. That defending unit is a unit full of Ewoks, full of sword, and it's blast, and it's... Nice. So 12 hits becomes 14 after the aim. He's got to get no help from cover, no help from dodges, and it's just a bunch of white dice thrown. So average, he should see, 1 in 6. So that's about a little over 2. He should save a little over 2 or 3 here, so which should wipe the squad. So average wipes the squad, but we will see. It looks like that's the squad. 14 hits, 3 get blocked, 11, and I think that's the entire squad of Ewoks. So that demonstrates why Tom was so eager to get rid of that ATR, the other flamer ATRT, when he could, because that.
Good to know. The arc is just
Because that was just an entire 11 bodies that just got deleted off the board with a flamethrower. But still, those heavy squads of Ewok slingers, are very, very efficient in points-wise. That whole thing is only like 75 points. And now it's, it died quickly, but that was 11 bodies that he had to go through. Oh, if you just were just tuned in to see that defense roll, well, actually, that was pretty average. It's just, that's what happens when you're rolling white dice that don't surge. Moving some Ewoks up into contesting range of that point, but it's got to be careful because, oh look, there is a tank there that is definitely going to want to eat them up. But he did put one guy behind that wall where that tank will not be able to one-shot them with that one Ewok behind the wall like that. Possibly might have wanted to put a second one behind there, but then the ISP, you got the pincer move of that ISP and the Saber tank. Of course, though, that squad could only move once. They were suppressed. And Chris uses a pass here. Those early movements from Chris allowed him to push onto that center objective. So if Tom moves up to try to contest that center point, that melee squad of ARFs is going to just hop on whatever he pushes up there. But he does have some Rebel range troopers that he might try to thin out that squad, that Obi-Wan ARF squad first. So Chris did the defensive roll, did the used the reroll ability that Kenobi gives him, and got it down to just the one wound. Chris is sitting over there negotiating with the judge for promos. I see. Yeah, picking and choosing what promos he wants. Okay. So that's the tricky thing. Is Chris would really like to hold those ARFs back and engage in melee, but Tom's going to just keep peppering them with ranged fire if he does. But it might be the case that he's just kind of says, well, I'm not going to win that center objective this time, and charges off the center objective to deal more damage. Because... no, he's decided to recover shoot. Recover to get his ability back that lets him re-roll his defense dice. Five hits on an unaimed shot. That's 1-0 automatically goes away. Rolls cover on 4. 50% on the cover. So, 5 hits, gets taken down to just 1 wound after all of the Ewok shenanigans. So we've got Lagray going, and he's just takes a whole bunch of aims to, I think that's what's happening. Yeah, Logray just dodges and aims to load up the Ewoks around him, and then inspire some suppression off the other Ewoks. Chris chooses to pass.
He doesn't want to live. He wants to kill things. Although that sounds like it's a solid day.
Looks like we are getting a charge. Looks like, is that a charge from Wicket? Wicket 3 charge into an Obi-Wan Kenobi squad? Just funny to imagine Wicket charging a Jedi Master and somehow not immediately dying is... yeah. It is funny that in this matchup, Wicket is in fact stronger than Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because Obi-Wan Kenobi is just the squad upgrade with 1 health and just 3 little dice. And Wicket's like, I got more than that. All right, Saber Tank coming around the edge. Now the question becomes, does he start chewing through that ATST of Chewie? Chewing through Chewie? Or does he try to annihilate more units? Right, so it looks like we are firing the main guns into Chewie and then beaming into some Rebel troopers. Those Rebel troopers who haven't gone yet, so they don't have their dodges yet. You know, Chris keeps reaching over the dice box like this. I'm just have to like write on his arm some messages for y'all. Looks like 4 into Chewie. Now Chewie does surge to block on white dice. And it's 3 of 4, it looks like. Chris is deciding where, so he gets to give out a surge token now, so he's deciding where that goes. And then we're going to beam onto the rebel troopers. 2 hits. They're looking at cover. It doesn't look like any cover because they aren't close enough. They aren't at half range, so it's no cover. 2 hits, 2 go through, and on the other squad, 2 hits, 1 goes through. So that beam, those beams are chunking through a lot of those dodges, a lot of those bodies, but he hasn't pulled off enough of the activations. So at the end of this round, Tom is probably going to have a nice lead. But whether or not he can keep it, well, that'll be the name of the game. Reminder, we are playing with variable time, so the countdown in the corner is approximate. All right, so yeah, we've got some more bears moving up to claim that left objective, and it looks like Chris passes. Tom pulls off the suppression, which is good for him because now he can get those guys to double move and start claiming. So the Rebel Trooper that just activated got to repair a wound off of ATST Chewie. And now it looks like they are double moving to contest that center objective. Chris is all right, so he's just going to probably move up some clone marksmen into scoring range and then take some shots on something. Let's see what he chooses to shoot. Actually, he chooses not to shoot. It's just a dodge.
I said yes.
moving up the ISP. So is he in contest range? It looks like he is in contest range. So, and he's going to be able to beam them both. So these beam weapons definitely will definitely start to take a lot of toll on these clumps of dudes. But the downside is not focusing units very heavily, so he's not peeling off any units, but he's just dealing a bit of damage to all of the units. Those cover rolls are really, really coming in helpful for the Ewoks. We have the Jedi Guardian Arf that is charging some Ewoks onto that center point. Or is it Ewok? Actually, no, sorry, it's the Rebel Troopers. He dodged first because I think he's a little... there's going to be a counter charge from some Ewoks that he wants to mitigate. So there, that was the ARF squad, finished off that Rebel Trooper squad. That was the Rebel Trooper squad with the astromech that already got to repair the ATST-1s. And so now they're fighting over that center point. It looks like I'll just go double check. Get some wounds on that ATRT. Yeah, so on that center point, there is just Wicket for Tom at the moment, and then 2 squads of ARFs for Chris. But Tom has a bunch of other stuff that's going to be able to move up and get in there. So Tom is bleeding a lot of bodies and a lot of some units, but he started with a lot to spare. He's moving Cody up. He's kind of trying to decide, is firing or securing better, and he just decides to secure. More Ewoks just double moving towards the objective. They're not going to get there, but they'll threaten for next round. Looks like Chris is strafing to the side, which you can test the center, and I think he's going to be able to get the squad of Ewoks out of cover now. Well, they'll still have light cover from suppression, and then beam into the other squad. I guess they did say that he had heavy cover. That didn't look like it was heavy cover to me, but they're looking at the board, so I'll assume that they know what they're doing. One certainly advantage that Chris has is his very early and speedy movement up the board. Means that a lot of the actual fighting is happening on Tom's side of the board, where Chris can kind of secure the objectives and surround the objectives while still fighting. But Tom is happy to charge into Chris's units. Looks like we have Han double moving in and then, going to shoot some stuff. It is currently on the center. We have Han Wicket. I didn't hear exactly who he's gunslingering. And then the other one on the squad, on the ARF squad, the non-Kenobi ARF squad, because the Kenobi ARF squad is immune pierce. And Han is sad when he's dealing with immune pierce things. Range troopers are taking some shots onto Chewie. Looks like he gets one crit through with the marksman and gets a wound. We still have Leia to go, and Leia has that, whenever she chooses to shoot, is going to have the extra dice from Chewie. So there's a decent chance that one of those marksman squads is going to go down. So I'm a little skeptical of that aim shoot. Considering I think he wants another marksman on that point. Double moving some rebel troopers, it looks like, up to contest that center point, so they are now tied on the center point. But Tom has more reinforcements still. Now Leia's going to move, and I assume take a shot on something over there. Sharpshooter shot onto. I'm gonna assume the wounded marksman. So we have Leia shot with a Chewie shot on top of Chewie's one of Chewie's weapons on top of it. So it's looks like it's yeah. Oh, he shot at that ATRT, I see.
But the angle that you chose it to, single-handedly made that game 100% possible. That one fucking piece of terrain, I had no approach to the POI, except standing people up top and running them across.
So they are scoring at the end of round 2. They are tied on that center point. So they both scored their secondary. I didn't see who's got their secondaries, but they have it marked so they both scored their secondary and both scored one primary. 1 point off the primary. So we are looking at 2-2 at the moment.
Even my opponent was like, dude, when he moved that, he was like, I mean, it's impossible. So it was, so the big chunk of wire, this flat on top was like at an angle, so I just approached to go after the POI, but it was hanging off the edge. No, it moved, you know, we have to judge, we moved it the closest screenplay, but it moved it like, it was on, but, yeah, so, it was on top, it was on the edge, so all of his stuff is towards high up, and so while I had to run up there, one time up there, and it was like, with the astromech, so like, I literally had no way to work my own POI. Hey, this is why I check when I move you out, like, we both know if I'm doing this. I'm not necessarily checking out, like, yeah, I can't be thinking about it. But yeah, like, my POI the entire time, round 2, and I spent like 6 scouts trying to clear shit off the POI, and like, every turn you just go up by an extra one. But also, Rebel Crystology is fucking loose. It's maybe the strongest thing in the game, like in terms of how much dice you can throw. So how did you fit all of that? 2 land speeders, a Cassius, heavies on all of your Rebel troopers, 2 5 singles, like, so this is cool. There was a commander, and then both the commanders each had the big gun.
All right, so apparently this entire time I've been talking with it only coming out of one side, and no one told me. So it should be fixed now. So it should actually be coming out of both ears if you're wearing headphones now. So the secondary, Wicket has the secondary, is holding the secondary on Tom's side, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is holding the secondary on Chris's side. So that means that Wicket, who is currently engaged in melee with Kenobi Squad, is a prime target for death. He's already, I believe, taken some wounds, and got some Guardian Arcs are aiming and charging. Who they are aiming and charging? Guardian Arcs. Looks like Han Solo. Into Han Solo. This could be a very unhappy Han Solo. That's more surges than you'd like to see, but they do have an aim. Five Pierce 1 into Han, who rolls very poorly, but he does get his re-roll. Yes, he will block 1 after Pierce, so he takes 4. So Han is now wounded 4 out of 6. And stuck in melee. And Han really does not like to be stuck in melee. Sounds like we have slingers slinging at an ATRT. I think was what they're talking about, which is probably not going to be terribly effective. But that ATRT is broken and ion, so yeah, it's not worth it. I think he's just moving on. So some more Ewok slingers moving up to contest that point, and now the ATRT did a lot last time with its flamer, but it's kind of stuck at this point. It's broken and it's ioned, so it's not likely to do much. So actually, it looks like it is throwing into that ATRT. So that was not a good roll from that ATRT, and it looks like the ATRT is down to down to Ewoks with little slingshots. Some Obi Arfs are now, I think, they are currently engaged with Wicket, so they might, Obi Arfs might just try to annihilate Wicket right now. That would definitely be a huge boon to Chris. Four black plus a rainbow, so 7 dice into Wicket with Pierce 1 with an aim. Where's the white die? Huh. You know what? It's he might. So, Wicket does go down, which is big because Wicket was carrying the secondary for Tom. So now Wicket no longer can score that secondary. Obi-Wan, who just went, can still score that secondary. And in fact, at the end of his activation, will. So Chris scores. Remember, recon mission is you get to choose one of your units to hold a scanner asset, and if that unit ends its activation, if a unit with a scanner asset ends its activation within line of sight and range 2 of 2 enemy units, you score a point. And since Obi-Wan Kenobi is right in the center of that whole mess and is holding the scanner asset, that is who gets to this, that is how Chris just scored that point. Yeah, so and Wicket was holding Tom's, but Wicket just died, and so now Tom is no longer holding his secondary objective. This is pretty early on in the game. Hold on, we're at
So you don't, I don't think you pick them up, I think you just stand near them and storm. No, that's surface scan. Excuse me.
yeah, I think their card is out of date.
Yeah, you can't pick one up. Units cannot claim enemy scanners. It's literally on there.
Where'd it go?
Did they claim an enemy scanner?
No, they were checking.
Yeah. Those are rules. Claim
Right.
scanner. Units cannot claim enemy scanners.
Weird. Okay, then they played that wrong last game, but
Oh, they did?
it didn't end up mattering. But. Talking about the rules, we're all figuring out the rules here. Sorry, I was wrong. They were right. Yep.
I know we misprinted a bunch.
Uh-huh.
Speed. Crazy. Hey, why don't we get droids in the most popular?
Yeah. So getting to so. Yeah, so Chris now definitely has the advantage for the secondary. Although the sheer number of units that Tom still has, although Tom has been losing a lot of units, he's lost. I think he's lost about 3 units, maybe 3 or 4 units so far. Though Chris has already lost 2 units, so Tom still has the activation advantage, though Chris has narrowed that a little bit. Not as much as you would have liked to. So this game is going to come down to a lot of punching and a lot of kicking in the center, scratching, maybe a little eye gouging even. So that is his wounded unit of marksmen, already took dude, just moving into the Ewoks and punching. Three hits and, wow, 2 saves on non-surging white dice. That's incredible. So I think Chris's idea is if he just gets his guys into melee with those Ewoks, then he doesn't have to worry about the ATST shooting them. And if he can remove good shots from that ATST, then that's value. I think it's currently 3-3 in that center ball there. But then there's Leia, who's still hanging out there, who could move up. So it actually looks like Tom has 4 units in that center there. There are 2 units of Ewoks, a unit of Rebel Troopers, and Han. And on the other side, we've got the Saber Tank, and then 2 ARF squads. So that was Clone Commander Cody just punched some Ewoks on that right side, took 2 of them out. So that Ewok squad is looking down to, I think they are down to 4 of their original large squad. I think though, I forget how many they started with, but. So actually they're down to 3. They started with 6 and they're down to 3. So Leia chooses to go to the right side. Leia double moves, gets into melee there. So that is currently 3-3 on the right side. So currently, on that right side, on the right point, we have the ATST, Leia, and a unit of Ewoks. And on Chris's side, there's the Saber Tank and 2 units of Marksmen. So they are tied on the right side. Tom is currently winning the center and the left. So Tom is definitely at an advantage for the primary, though he has lost his secondary carrier. Although there's a good chance he'll be able to pick that up next round, so that's probably only 1 point lost. Yeah. So Chris passed here, and I'm not. I think that was after Leia moved, Chris passed, and I think that was kind of a mistake. Because I think he should have rushed those marksmen in and buried them into melee with the Ewoks first, because he could have cleared that squad and got himself a point. So depending on how the dice rolls, obviously, but I feel like Chris choosing to pass there might have lost him a point.
If someone's never stayed business, you take it like a fuck. That's when I got the belt, I was building it like
So that ISP is going to try to clean up some Ewoks on the left side. Yeah, so the start of the game, is a little slow because, when you're dealing with a 14-act list, it does take a little bit of time. But, each round goes quicker than the previous one as things kind of start to shake out. There are fewer units on the board and oftentimes fewer decisions to make. So, that ISP is cleaning up Ewoks on that left side, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
but by the end we only found like the last paper and there was no path back.
Two surges rules, but they don't surge, so that's 2 dead Ewoks there. 1 left in that, so I think there are still two squads on the left side of Ewoks. I think it's 1 left in one unit and 3 left in the other. Figuring out some mistakes there, but I think that so now I think it's just the 1 squad of Ewok left, actually. Oh, I forgot about Cody over on the right side. So actually, sorry, my apologies to Chris for saying that. I think it would, because he has 2 squads of marksmen over on that right side, the tank and Cody. So he will secure that point. And I think with killing that Ewok squad now, Tom won't get the left point, so it might actually just be 2-1 in Tom's favor for the primary. 2 for the center, and then 2 to the center for Tom, and 1 for the right side to Chris. Although Tom does still have hiding down in the bottom left, right in here, we do have a C-3PO and a log ray. So a big question is going to be, if they double move, are they going to be in contesting range of this one? Because right now, they're tied on this one. So they're tied over here. Tom is securing this one, and Chris is securing that one. So right now that is a 2-1 advantage to Tom for the primary. Though if Tom can move in log ray or C-3PO onto that left point, it could be 3-1. Chris's saber tank, I think, is just aiming and firing into Chewbacca, probably. I think that's his only target at the moment. Two crits and 2 impacts. Rolling 4 wounds onto Chewie. That's a good hit. There, he's measuring the same thing I was thinking. Can C-3PO or Law Gray make it to contest? Now, C-3PO is very fragile. So if he runs out, it's very likely he's going to die. But I think you got to go for the points. I feel like you got to sacrifice C-3PO and Law Gray for the points. Because, frankly, I mean, without... basically, all of the units on that left side are dead. And without them, they're not terribly... Like, C-3PO doesn't really do much. So it looks like he just moved and dodged. So it looks like he's planning on double moving Law Gray up. Chris moves up his other core into Ewoks. I think if he had done that a little earlier, he would have had more of them left. One punch into the Ewoks. They have 3 left, down to 2 left. So I think Tom's plan there with moving C-3PO forward only slightly is he didn't want to get beamed. He's just moving his guys to hide from that other saber tank. I think that was an indomitable rally roll. He is throwing some slingers into an ISP. Armor 3 with 4 of them. No, nothing happens. Some rocks plink off of the armor of the ISP. Nice, nice. So what Chris is trying to do. So what Chris is trying to do is block off Logray's path to contesting while contesting himself, because he's lost that second. Yeah. So no, he wasn't able to keep Logray from moving up. So the Saber tank moves forward to contest and then does a standby, which is a good move because now when Logray moves forward, he is going to get.
Yeah, you must have been an amazing artist that made that paper, right? I didn't know those hills.
So that standby means that, so C-3PO did have to come forward. So, with that divine influence, gets you the Guardian. Oh, and Tom is doing a sneaky thing. So Chris was planning to beam into that other unit, but Tom guardianed onto that unit and killed the only model that Chris's tank could actually see. So denies Chris the beam, but C-3PO is probably dead here anyway. Yep, C-3PO. I think that kills C-3PO. Right, so that definitely changes. That was a good move. That was a great play by Chris. Chris basically gave up the center, moving his tank off that center. He gave up that center because he couldn't contest it, but he was able to obliterate the side. Right. Right, so Han was able to move up and grab the intel, and then they both score 2. Tom was able to get his secondary, but Chris was able to keep Tom from getting that primary advantage that he thought he was going to get. So, we are definitely running out of time. There's a good question of whether or not they will make it to round 5. There's a good chance that this is the final round for them. And we have Bring It Down versus Arboreal Ambush. Both 1 pips. And it looks like Tom gains priority. So it's Arboreal Assault. So that gives him Suppressive and Immobilize on his Bright Tree Village units that get an order. So, he was trying to immobilize the tank, but didn't get enough hits through to get past the armor, so the tank doesn't actually have to roll, and since it's not taking a wound, it's not getting immobilized.
I'm awarding them an extra minute after I call time for everyone else.
Cool. And due to judge calling, did some interesting judge interactions with, had to check up the immobilize and the interaction for impact and primitive. I'm seeing chat asking about Inferno-themed sticker sheets. I haven't seen any. But we got a lot of prize sports happening for the people here. So we have some core punching some Ewoks, 3 hits, and there are only 2 Ewoks left in that squad. That squad of Ewoks goes down, meaning that the only things left on that side are Chewie and Leia. So, at this point, Chris has secured that right side. I think Tom's pretty safely secured the middle, and so it's all going to come down to that left side. And so he's moving that ATST, moving Chewbacca away from that right side that he know he can't score, and into the left so that he can try to then move people from the middle back over to the left. He's gonna see if he can make that happen though. Yeah, the tanks definitely, if they had focused down the ATST, they definitely could have taken it down. But the difficulty is if you're focusing that ATST, then frankly you're not killing all the other squads. And when activations score, you want to kind of take out numbers of activations, sometimes more than the big activations. So we have the ISP trying to clean up that squad of Ewoks there. There are just a few of them left. And that looks like he's picking up the squad. So Han did activate and do some shenanigans in the center, but that is very important for the secondary because Han went and picked up that secondary, meaning that Tom gained his secondary for the round. Chris is measuring some marksmen for some shots. Marksman or Cody for some shots. It could be on Han. All right. So he's trying to clean off some more ARFs in that center. There are 4 left in that squad. It's a good attack roll. Oh, that's rough. That's the squad, and that is another instance of Chris's red dice just rolling really poorly today, and Tom's white dice rolling pretty well. That.
Star Wars, so we are 5280 Legion. So Twitch, 5280 Legion. Sure. I'm not going to remove him.
On Twitch? Yeah, 5280 Legion on Twitch. That's the name of our club. Oh, yeah, that's yours.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, take care. You too. So now, it's looking like, so OB ARFs went, scored their secondary. Yeah, that other squad of ARFs, that was sad. So, based on time, this probably will be their final round. The question is Tom going to be able to get another unit over to that left to contest? I don't think so. So it looks like they're both agreeing that this is going to be, they're both going to score 2 again this round, so it's probably going to come to kill points. So Chris is just trying to pick up more kill points, trying to get Logray out of the picture. So Logray survives. So I know the clock has hit 0, but we're playing with variable time, so I actually don't even know how much time is left in the round exactly. He's trying to. So it will come down to points, and so I think Chris is really hoping that he can He's checking. So he's got range, he's got line of sight because that thing's so tall, you can just see right over the building. and he's going to take a shot at him, and he's going to hope if he can take Chewie down right now, then that is a huge point swing in Chris's favor, because it's all going to come down to kill points. Got a crit. He got the crit. He rolled another critical 1. He's got the impact 3. Five, so he's... So he saves 1. He's alive. That ATST is alive, which means that that's a big point swing. Yeah, if that other tank had gone for the ATST instead of Logray, I think that ATST would be down, and I think Chris would have this. But since he didn't, and that is game. Now they are going to, the end score. So they are 8, and time-wise, so they just managed to finish round 4, squeaking in under the time limit, so they will have one more round left.
They're making it 5. We're finishing on 5.
Yep. They are going to play speedily through round 5. So it is currently a tie, yes, but they will be going one more round. So it's going to come down to it. They're playing the 1-pips, and this is going to be an important roll-off, because if Chris's... it goes to Tom. If Chris's Obi squad dies... Yeah, if Chris's Obi squad dies before he gets that secondary off, then that's going to be a big advantage to Tom. So he pulled Chewie, which is not what he wanted to pull, and now Chris gets to go with Obi-Wan. And he gets to aim slash into at squad, another squad trying to finish off a squad of slingers. And, very importantly, get that secondary off before... Ooh, that's a lot of crits. That's 4 crits. Not that it matters. And another hit. So, 5 total, Pierce 1. On the poor little... So, Chris did finish off the squad there, it looks like, which is more kill points. The other thing is he got his secondary off, very important. The big question is going to be now, Han is going to have to probably double move to get over to that. No. Yeah. If Han is choosing not to do that, Han is choosing not to do that. Interesting. I thought he was going to have to double move over to get to the or what was that? Let me just double check what that was. So Han did in fact go. He shot some ARF Jedis, then moved into melee with them so that he couldn't die because he is very almost dead. Now we got the ISP hunting for the kill on Logray. Logray just died, it sounds like. Yeah, the ISP was able to finish off Logray, which I think means that we have secured... Oh, sorry, I forgot to... Tom did get his secondary, so we are back to 9-9. But now I think the kill points is very much going to be in favor of Chris because that ATST, that Chewie ATST worth 180 points, has 1 hit point left. Leia is trying to chew through those marksmen, but not having enough success there. And then we have that Saber tank, who is very likely going to finish off Chewie. And when he does, that is going to be a huge kill point swing in Chris's favor. That's the crit, the hit. That's 2 crits and a critical 1. So with the impact, that would be 4 hits, and he only needs 1 wound. He dodged before the impact, right? So he spent the dodge, so he's down to 3. Doesn't block them all. That is Chewie goes down. Chewie's ATST goes down, and that is 180 kill points to Chris. Most everybody else in the hall is counting up points, counting up things, cleaning up. We here on the stream team, we is just going to try to finish off that squad of Kenobi ARFs in the middle for the kill points. Because that ARF Trooper with Kenobi is worth 90 points, but that's a whiffed roll. That's a pretty... That's a rough attack roll. And with the insult, with the absolute insult of blocking the one hit he actually got. Yeah, I appreciate you coming by and watching, everybody. I'm glad you appreciate the stream. Move, pivot to contest the center, making it making it 2-2 on the center, so no one scores the center. And so at the end of that round, Chris scores 2 both side objectives, and no one scores the center, so it goes to 11-9 in favor of Chris. That was a close game, with Chris definitely suffering from a lack of red saves and early on. But watching how those